Hi all. So I'm here to discuss the sample questions on leading SaFe, that is SaFe Agile 5.1 training, and these questions have the answers as well. So let's quickly go over the sample questions, which will help you determine whether you are really prepared for the examination or not. All right, so let's start. First question. So what is part of the role of the Scrum Master? So there are multiple things which a Scrum Master can perform. But with respect to this question, I think the closest answer which we would see is that is to coach the agile team, right? So this is the right answer. The next question is, what is the safe house of lean foundation? Okay, so the right answer for this one is lean agile leadership. Okay, if you remember the graph which was there in the book, so on the foundation at the bottom, you'll see the leadership, right? And on the top there is also a value, so there could be another question around this. Let's move on. Which role serves as the servant leader for the ART? So when we talk about ART, the role which serves as servant leader, that is release train engineer. Okay, that is RTE. I think this is straightforward. The next question: what is one pillar of the safe house of lean? Okay, so this is important concept, and this one of the pillars is innovation. There are other pillars as well, so you can go through all those options because there might be any question around any of those pillars. Then the next one: what is the primary focus of lean portfolio management? All right, so the correct answer for this one would be align strategy and execution. Okay, so you should always keep in mind that LPM, which is lean portfolio management, that always aligns strategy and execution. All right, let's move on. The next question is, what is one guardrail on lean budget spend? Okay, so there could be few questions on guardrail as well. Okay, so one of the options you'll see is investment horizons. Okay, there could be another option where it can say that engagement of business owners. So there could be multiple options around this question, so it's better to read guardrail once. Let's move on. During which event are the team PI objectives agreed upon? So as we know that PI planning is the entire event which is performed, to plan the PI, and the objectives are agreed during the PI planning meeting itself. So the correct answer is PI planning. All right. What does the continuous delivery pipeline CDP enable? CDP is a continuous delivery pipeline, and there is always a learning factor which is there. So it's ongoing learning, which is the correct answer here. Okay. Let's move on. What is one way lean agile leaders lead by examples? Okay, so as we know that lean agile leaders should always lead by example. So what could be one of those options? So that is by modeling. So if you see, modeling is the keyword here. By modeling saves lean agile mindset, values, principles, and practices. Okay, so this is the right answer. Which statement is true when continuously deploying using a DevOps model? So DevOps, as it is for Dev plus Ops, and it always helps in reducing the severity, and you can have. So this is the right answer. It lessens the severity and frequency of release failures. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. That is, when should new approaches be anchored in an organization's culture? So organization culture, okay. So this is an interesting question because when you'll read, you will get to know that this is the last option. Actually, it comes last as results of changing work habits, right? So you need to remember this. Okay, this might be a good question. What are two ways to describe a cross-functional agile team? So there are multiple things which can define a cross-functional agile team, because cross-functional means, each team member should be able to perform, all types of activities within the agile team. So the short answer would be they can define, build, and test. Okay. Second, they are optimized for communication and delivery of value. So these are the two ways through which we can define a cross-functional agile team. All right. Okay, next one. What is an attribute of an application built with DevOps in mind? Okay, so when this question comes, you have to, keep in mind that it talks about deployments and releases, right? DevOps. So that's why this is the right answer. It overlays measurements with events, that is deployments and releases. The next question, the program board shows which two items? So if you remember the program board, it has mainly features and their significant dependencies, right? So these are the right answers, dependencies and features. Let's move on. How can trust be gained between the business and development? So I think it's straightforward, by delivering predictability. If you deliver predictability, obviously, trust can be gained between business and development. Why is it important to decouple deployment from release? Okay, it's a good question. So the correct answer is uh, to enable releasing on demand. So basically, release on demand is the important feature. Okay. And next question, optimizing flow means identifying what? So basically, when we talk about optimizing flow and identifying the delays, so delay is the main thing here, which so let's move on. This SAFe's first lean agile principle includes deliver early and often, and what else? So SAFe's first lean agile principle, if we remember, it talks about delivering value incrementally. That is, in each iteration, you will deliver the value, right? So this is the correct answer here. Which two types of decisions should remain centralized even in a decentralized decision-making environment? So there are mainly two types of decisions which are unlikely to change in the short term. That is also called infrequent decisions, like the decisions which are not being taken frequently. Secondly, decisions that deliver large and broad economic benefits. So these are the two types of decisions which will probably not change even in a decentralized decision making environment. Okay, ignore this marking, it should be making. Let's move on. Who is responsible for managing the portfolio Kanban? Okay, so I think it's straightforward. The answer is lean portfolio management. They are responsible for managing the portfolio Kanban. Okay. What are the top two reasons for adopting Agile in an organization? So there are benefits of adopting Agile in any organization. That's why, people and organizations are moving towards Agile. And these two are mainly, first of all, to enable changing priorities and then accelerating product delivery. Next question, the analyzing step of the portfolio Kanban system has a new epic with a completed lean business case. Okay. What best describes the next step for the epic? Okay. So the next step would be to get it approved by lean portfolio management before moving it to the portfolio backlog. So this is the right answer. It will be moved to the portfolio backlog if it receives a go decision from lean portfolio management. Okay. Let's move on. What are the strategic themes? Where are the strategic themes in the SAFe big picture? Okay, so this is at portfolio level. We all know that, right? If you look at the bigger picture, you will find portfolio and then strategy themes are, there. The next question, what is an example of applying cadence and synchronization in SAFe? Okay, So the best example is to conduct a PI planning meeting. Okay, during PI planning meeting itself, we can see cadence and synchronization because there are multiple teams working together, okay, towards a common objective. So I think this is one example. Which team is organized to assist other teams with specialized capabilities and help them become more proficient in new technologies? Okay, so there are different types of teams, and this one is called enabling team because it enables, right? It assists, organized to assist, and enable other teams with specialized capabilities. So that's why this is the right answer. Let's move on. What is this statement defining a series of activities that have proven to be effective in successfully implementing SaFe? So I think that is SaFe implementation roadmap. Straightforward answer. Let's move on. What are the three dimensions of lean agile leadership? Okay. So if you remember, there was a question also in the earlier phase. The first is lead by example, right? There was another question framed around this point. The second is lead the change. Okay, so you have to be the change agent and lead the change. Third is mindset. Okay, so agile is actually about mindset and its principles, right? So these are the three dimensions of lean agile leadership. Okay. What is defined as the ability to complete and thrive in the digital age by quickly responding to market changes and emerging opportunity, right? So this is about like how quickly you can adopt to the market changes and you can utilize this as an emerging opportunity. So if you look at the answers, I think the straightforward answer would be business agility, right? Agility is like how agile your business is. Okay, let's move on. What is what is an attribute of an application built with DevOps in mind? Okay, I think this is repeated. It overlays measurements with events, deployment, and releases. Yeah, this I think repeated question. What else does the SAFe principle unlock the intrinsic motivation of knowledge workers require besides purpose and mission? Okay, so that is minimum possible constraints is the right answer here. Let's move on. During the PI planning event, when are planning adjustments agreed upon? Okay. So, I mean, if you remember the 2 day schedule of PI planning, so there is a management review and problem solving session towards the end of the day one, and there planning adjustments are discussed and agreed. Okay. Which statement is true about ART events? So ART events basically are the agile other events which are happening at PI level, right? And then there are team events also running inside the ART events. So basically, it is like this. If you remember the diagram, so these are like ART events, and inside the ART events, there are team level events, right? So there are Scrum ceremonies happening here, and then ART events create a closed loop system. So this is the right answer. If small batches go through the system faster with lower variability, then which statement is true about batch size? So regarding batch size, always remember that large batches are not really recommended because they can cause projects to miss targets. So this is the right answer. There could be other options as well, but I think if you remember this, it will help. The next one, how does SAFe recommend using a second operating system to deliver value? Okay, so this is a very good concept here. So you have to remember that organize the enterprise around the flow of value while maintaining the hierarchies. Okay, this is the right answer. All right. Next question. Which core competency of the lean enterprise helps drive built-in quality practices? Okay, so that is team and technical agility. Okay. Next question. SAFe's first lean agile principle includes deliver early and often, and what else? I think this is also a repeated question. It says deliver value incrementally. An enterprise has just adopted the SAFe implementation roadmap and is in the process of training executives, managers, and leaders. What's the next step? Okay, so the next step is identify value streams and ARTs, right? There could be other questions also around this phenomena. So just have a look at the larger picture, and this will help in solving all those questions. Why do business owners assign business value to team PI objectives, right? So during the PI objectives, business owners usually assign business value from 1 to 10, okay? And that is done basically to provide the guidance on the business value of the team objectives. So this is the right answer. What is one key purpose of DevOps? Interesting. There could be many, but key purpose is DevOps. As you know, it consists of development and operations, right? So dev and operations, ops. So this is the right answer to enable continuous delivery.